Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another College Basketball Coaches Show, simply known as the Full Court Press. Sam is not with us today. Luke Taylor here, back in the saddle alone, and I'm wearing purple for this, Coach, one of my favorite colors. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us on the Full Court Network and also on our Substack page, Instagram, Twitter. You know all the deal. So I said to him off the air, this is what college basketball is all about. We got Lennie Acuff from the Lipscomb Bisons to the Full Court Press. Back, Coach, welcome and congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Luke. I appreciate you guys having me. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know where to start. I am just so happy for you guys. I mean, you know, the problem with mid-major basketball, no offense to, and not, you know, pigeonhole you in that comp, it's like you got to win over 3-4 days, 5 days, whatever. How difficult is it? Because as you're seeing during conference games, conference tournament especially, anybody can win in any given day. I mean, there's been a number of upsets in different conferences. How difficult was it for you guys, and just with your experience and your background, how difficult was it to win the A-Sun this year?
Well, Luke, it's the most difficult thing I've experienced in coaching. You know, this is my 35th year as a head coach, 29 at the Division II and NAIA level. And most of the time, if you've had a great year at that level, when you go to the conference tournament, you're still going to the national tournament, NCAA or the NAIA national tournament. If you're, you know, we were 25-9, I guess, and if we'd have lost that game, we would still went to the tournament at the other levels. It's a one-shot deal. Like there's no do-over. It is a one-shot deal, and I think the world of you. But the reality is, if we wouldn't have won, you wouldn't be talking to me today.
Well, you never know. Maybe next week.
That's right. But you understand that,
right?
You know, I'm sitting there and I actually watched the game again this morning, and it's a 2-point game with 2 minutes to go, and there's no middle ground here. I mean, there's no middle ground either. It's ecstasy or agony, and you know, there's no do-over. And so it's the most pressure I've felt, and particularly when you've had a great year. I mean, like us in North Alabama tied for the regular season. We both were 24-9 coming into the game. We both had 3 fifth-year senior starters. You know, you got a team that you've built, and these kids have done everything you've asked, and it's just, okay, here it is. Can somebody step up and make a play? But it's a lot, you know, and to maybe update the people that listen to you is, I mean, in the semifinals, we're playing Queens. We're down 10 with 7 minutes to go. We are dead in the water. And we were fortunate. We made a couple of shots. They missed a few shots, and we were able to win in overtime. And I felt like I've been fortunate to be a part of some championship teams. You usually need a game like that. You know, you got to get lucky. I mean, and I wish there was more to it, but that's the truth. And I'm proud of our guys. But navigating this conference tournament thing in a one bid league is a whole nother deal.
Yeah. And you're obviously seeing in, you know, 25, 26 conferences across the nation that it's, you know, one and done. It doesn't matter how well, it doesn't matter your seed. Once that ball goes up in that first round game or quarterfinals, wherever you are, everything just goes out the door. And I mean, North Alabama, which is kind of interesting. You have a past with them because, and I actually, you don't understand this too. I'm a product of the Gulf South Conference. I went to Arkansas Tech for a couple of years.
There you go. My man Mark County coach there.
I know.
Good
yeah,
dude.
I know about UAH where you were. North Alabama. Man, when I was in college, North Alabama was a football powerhouse. And it's still
three straight national championships. That's why they went Division I. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you know, it's, you know, they went from NAIA to Division II, and I mean, they had guys in the NFL each year. The joke was with North Alabama, they got all the Alabama and Auburn dropouts, which, you know, that's not a bad thing.
North Alabama is really a great team. Tony Poole done a great job with their program. You know, it was their 7th year in Division I, and they were built to win a championship. Big, physical, athletic, tough, experienced. One of the best guards in the country at any level, Jakari Lane. They had everything you need, and both our games, we played 3 times, and all 3 of them were hard fought games that just, it's such a fine line, and that's what people don't understand. Your margin for error is so small at this time of year. And what happens too, as longer the season goes, the margins shrink to the middle. And like everybody starts getting to be about the same. The teams that may be struggling, they start getting better. And, are you healthy? Some of the teams that towards the top may lose somebody. It's just get right down. It's all about parity, and the ball needs to bounce your way.
Yeah. Yeah. How much do you like that you have kind of a week off per se before you play your next game? Do you think it's going to benefit you? Do you think it'll hurt you? I guess what from your experiences, what do you think?
Yeah, it's probably not ideal. However, in this circumstance, we lost at Eastern Kentucky about 3 weeks ago, and we knew if we were going to get the number 1 seed, we're probably going to have to win out our last 7 or 8 games. And so every game was so much emotion and almost a must win, because I've been here 6 years in the ASUN. The 1 year COVID, they had a neutral court, but the other 5, the team that's hosted the championship games won it 5 out of 5. And it's just, so being at home was a big deal. And we're not playing a lot of guys right now. We're only playing 7 and maybe 8 at times. And so we have a tired team. We needed to recalibrate. So we gave them off Monday, and we'll give them off today, and we'll start back working tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very nice of you, Coach.
But I need it.
Yeah, you do. And I mean, but the thing is, you're doing stuff like this. I mean, this is going to be the most exciting, because we've talked to a lot of coaches in your position, whether it's Donnie Jones, who you obviously know personally very well, and he went last year. It's a lot of fun, but it's also exhausting, and you just want to play the game.
Yeah, you do. But I think it's important, though, Luke, that you have to understand that most of the schools at our level that transition from a lower level to Division I, if you cut them to their core, it's because they wanted to play in the NCAA tournament. Men's basketball tournament. That's what they wanted to do. And because the good thing about these 10 days in between a game, it gives us a chance to tell our story. And I think it's really important that I do whatever I can to talk about Lipscomb basketball. I think they said there was a study done, and I don't know exactly what the millions is, but it's upward of $15 million of free advertising over this 2 weeks for our university. Yeah. You just can't replace that. So I want to take advantage of that. I want to tell Lipscomb's story. We're losing 4 fifth-year senior starters, and hopefully our program becomes a little bit more attractive to maybe some kids out there that didn't know about Lipscomb if we weren't in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, very much so, especially now that it's crazy. It's already started with the transfer portal, though it's not officially it started with all the players. How much of a balance is it going to be right now to competing in the NCAA tournament, but also looking at recruiting for next year, since you're losing so much? Like, what are the assistant coaches going to be doing this week?
Yeah, I'm actually about to go into a meeting, and we're going to talk about that. It's a delicate balance. We're obviously going to maybe be a little bit behind, even though the portal's not officially open. I mean, I had 2 or 3 calls yesterday about kids, and I think the most important thing for me right now is I have a 100,000% obligation to my team and my kids and our school. Like, those guys are the priority 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And so we will focus completely on that. We'll have, some of the maybe ops guys or GAs or something, looking at film or whatever, but we will put everything we have in trying to play the best we can next Thursday or Friday, wherever we end up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, because I know you're very involved. You're the past president of the NABC, which is a really unique and very great organization. But you look what's going on. This is honestly, and we had Keith Gill on the show this week and in College Basketball Weekly, who's Sunbelt commissioner and also the vice chair of the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee. I can put in a good word for him with you.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, I told him that
to be a number 1 or 2 seed, please.
Well,
we'd like to play in Nashville.
I think you might have to get like 4, but we'll settle. But I suggested that you guys should just go to 356 teams, and that way you don't have to worry about pissing everybody off, because you're always going to annoy someone, especially on social media. But seeing like what's going on in the college basketball landscape, I mean, we've talked about, and I've talked to a lot of coaches and your colleagues about non-conference scheduling, the transfer portal being right in the middle of the NCAA tournament. You don't have an off season. From you and your colleagues, do you see kind of changes? I mean, you see Coach Hurley on 60 Minutes saying that half his teams look at a transfer, and you still got a month of the season potentially. Like
it's a very difficult balance. And I think the thing, like most things in life, what you need to fight to do is put your energy on the things you can control.
Yeah.
And there's issues, and there's deep issues, but until this House settlement comes down, hopefully in the next month, and there's some type of guardrails, and even though that is NIL related, where there's got to be guardrails somehow in the portal, just where the timing and I don't have the answers. There's somebody a lot smarter than me. I think it's okay to say I don't know. But there needs to be something. I actually told our coaches the other day, we're grinding and grinding and grinding, trying to figure this thing out. And I said, how about this, guys? When this finishes, we've got 2 months to put together a team.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, we start back June 1st. I mean, and it's why guys are getting out of it. I think if you don't have some perspective and understand that, there's more things in life than basketball, you can work yourself right into the grave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You'd lose a lot of sleep and a lot of hair over it. So
yep. I've checked both of them. The first,
yeah.
The second for sure.
So you're 8-time Gulf South Coach of the Year. You went to the Sweet 16 3 times with UAH, 2-time Elite 8. How much are you, with your experience in the Division II level, how different are you kind of preparing, or are you kind of preparing the same for this next week or so?
Yeah, I was asked that earlier this morning. I think the biggest thing is I told our guys the other day, like, we've been through this, and kind of lean on me. And not that I have the answers, but I just know that, you don't need to overthink or over a coach a big game. You just need, this is going to come down to day one stuff. No matter if we're playing Division I, Division II, Division III, is can we take care of the ball? Can we get better shots than who we're playing? Can we keep them off the glass? And can we stay poised when it matters? And if we can do those things, hopefully we'll play well. But I think that just, having been, I promise you, I wanted to win every NCAA tournament game in Division II as bad as I want to win this one.
Yeah.
And so, like, there was a lot of kids that have played for me in the past, or were at the game on Sunday. And when I was coaching there, I felt like I was coaching at Duke. It's those kids one shot, and this is our team's one shot.
Yeah.
We're going to go all in, and but I'm very thankful for the opportunity. I'm excited for our team.
Yeah, and I said this before when we had our conference show with you and Coach Jones. I predicted, I'm pretty much sure, even if I did, I'm just going to lie and said I predicted you guys were going to win conference just because you brought back a guy named Jacob.
Yeah,
which I can't pronounce his last name.
Best way to go is J-O.
Yeah, J-O. If I was recruiting, I couldn't pronounce her last name, I wouldn't recruit him. I don't care how good he is. But what's interesting, he's averaging 20 points a game, 8.1 rebounds a game. But you have 4 of their players averaging double digits. And I know you have a smaller rotation, but that's usually not common to have that much point distribution amongst 5 players, especially if a player's averaging just over 20 a game. Like,
yeah, we are fortunate to be balanced. And let me say one real quick thing about, I was on with you guys with Donnie earlier in the year. And if you don't know what the transfer portal can do to this time last year, you guys were talking to him. He won the tournament. And he was supposed to have all 5 starters back. Lost every one of them.
And some like Blackman is a ball player.
They lost real dudes.
Yeah,
real dudes. They could have probably been a top 60 team in the country if all those kids come back. They lose every one of them. They finished, 9th or 10th in our league. Well, let me tell you something. Donnie Jones didn't forget how to coach basketball overnight. Donnie Jones is an incredible coach and an even better person, but you can get wiped out in this deal. In a hurry. And so, us hanging on to some of the guys we held on to, Jacob Nakovich, Joe Anderson, Will Pruitt, that gave us a running start at that. And we're balanced. We have different guys. We had 5 guys in double figures. Jacob was our least of the 5 the other day. We had 4 of the guys that scored more. 3, he was our 4th leading scorer. Will Pruitt, Joe Anderson, and Giassi Powell scored more than him. So I think we have a lot of options. I think we can move the ball. I think we can come at you in different ways. But the one thing Jacob's been for us all year, he's been a human tourniquet. I mean, he's the guy he can stop the bleeding, and you got to have that.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where you guys are placed, obviously, and then just what you guys are going to do, because I think you guys are gonna sneak up on some people. So we do the shot clock, as you know, you did with Coach Jones.
Yep.
We're just gonna ask some easy, simple questions. Let's have a little fun.
Yep.
Make you think. 1-word answers, 2-word answers. If it's a story, get after it. So, 1 word to describe Lipscomb.
Unique.
Okay. Biggest difference between D1 and D2 basketball?
Size of the players.
Yeah, that's the truth. Funniest recruiting story?
Oh, that's a great one. I'll give you a unique one. I was going to recruit a kid. We're driving from Huntsville, Alabama to Macon, Georgia, the morning of 9/11. And I remember listening on the radio when all that went down. And I was with one of my assistants, and I said, do we keep going or not? And we kept going, and we ended up, driving through Atlanta. It was just eerie, and the kid actually committed the next day. We went and did the visit, but that's one I'll never, ever, ever forget. You're driving through Atlanta and back through Atlanta that night on 9/11, and you don't know what's happening in the world. And so that's probably the one I remember the most as being unique.
Yeah, that's definitely the most unique. Who would you say is your biggest coaching mentor?
It's a great question. I was really fortunate to work for a guy named Tony Engle that won 2 national championships, one at Kennesaw State and one at Dalton, Georgia. He gave me my first job. He passed away during COVID. His impact is still amazing. Don Meyer, that was the coach here for many, many, many years. We coach on Don Meyer Court. Coach Meyer he was everything you want to be in a coach. He was the coach's coach. He poured back. He found his gift and he gave it back. And so probably those guys.
Yeah. What would your spirit animal be?
My spirit animal. My wife would probably say whatever the most laid back is, just in terms of, I really don't like the limelight. That's not my deal. I'd rather just kind of be in the background and just whatever animal doesn't bring a lot of attention to me.
Yeah. Who would you say fouls the most on your team?
Great question. Jacob?
Nope. I'll give you one more guess.
Giassi Powell?
Nope. Dylan Faulkner, 1.8 fouls per game that are called against him.
We're the third. We fouled third fewest in college basketball. Second year in a row with a foul the fewest. And one thing about Dylan that I hadn't said, Dylan is the most talented kid here. Dylan is a really, really good player. We lost Dylan for the season January 10th. He has not played in 2 months. Yeah. And so that's why I'm so proud of our team. I didn't know if we could win it without him. And Charlie Williams, who's a transfer from William and Mary's, really stepped up in his stead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Which is crazy too. The officials obviously like you because you're called least amongst an Atlantic Sun conference. So they're going to make a Hollywood movie about you and your life. Who would play you, and what would the title be?
Oh, first off, bless their heart. Golly. I don't know who would be that unfortunate, but it would probably be living the dream.
Yeah.
Because I've been blessed beyond belief. If you had ever told me that this is where I would be, I would be like, there's no shot.
Yeah. I was going to say Gene Hackman, but that would be really eerie right now. He was so great in Hoosiers, but I think you're not as you're more well-tempered than he was in that movie. One of the greatest movies ever. I'm sorry.
The greatest movie ever.
Yeah, it's the white picket fence.
Yeah.
So last question I'm going to ask you. We're going to give you this stage. Sam always asks this, so I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know what to say, but not really. But what can you tell your boosters, your fans, the students, what to expect this next week and just the NCAA tournament?
It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's something you don't know. That Lipscomb's been Division I for 25 years. This is only the second time they've gone. Mm-hmm. And you need to enjoy it. Just for what it's worth, and just it's a special time for a school. Just the exposure, the opportunity for us to be mentioned in the same breath with all the Power Fours, and it looks like we're going to be a 13 seed. I think we maybe could sneak into a 12. Maybe could be as low as 14, but that means we're going to play a top 20 team in the country. So
Bring
you're going to be playing a blue blood. I mean, you're going to be playing a Power 4 school. And so what a great opportunity. Let's seize it.
Yeah. Yeah. You scared?
No, I'm probably just more anxious. I mean, I think one thing, when you're at this level, and Donnie would tell you the same thing, we played at Arkansas, we played at Kentucky. I mean, we've been a lot of places. So I don't think the moment will be too big for us. If it doesn't work out, it's going to be because we play a better team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Coach, you're going to stick on for one more second that we upload, but Coach, we really appreciate it, man. We love you and we love what you're doing and just your story and your history. And, we're going to be cheering for the Bisons.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll and I'll put in a good word to Keith and we had Tom Wichita, who's on the selection committee too, and we'll try to sneak in a top 6 and maybe in Nashville. So, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and cheer on the Lipscomb Bisons as they go for March Madness greatness.